Yeah, great team win. Proud of our guys. I thought we responded to some adversity tonight. And I give Denver a lot of credit. I thought they played terrific. They put a lot of pressure on us to guard one-on-one. And they made some tough shots, but I thought they did a really good job getting the ball to the rim, and spreading us out with their offense, which I think, will help us, hopefully down the line, hopefully help us on Sunday, and see some of the things that we need to correct. But 7 guys in double figures, I think it's the first time since 2010, 19 assists, 9 turnovers. We always stress having less than 10 turnovers in a game. So, proud of our guys, and like I said, they're sharing in each other's success. That's what happens when you have 19 turnovers. I thought we missed some bunnies tonight. They could have really, that's when we got to extend the lead. And every time it seemed we missed one of those bunnies or an open three, they came down and hit a three or got a bucket and stayed in the game. So, like I said, credit to them. I thought those kids played really hard from Denver, and but like I said, our guys, I'm proud of how they responded and just kept competing. Another thing too, I want to like I said, send special prayers out to Mia Hamden and her family and the women's soccer program and all the Husky Nation. Seeing the courageous fight she had, and I mean it inspires everybody, but it's hard to see such a young kid have to go through that.
I know that you didn't think of this as like a typical trap game, but just after the big win on Monday, the big game on Sunday, being favored by 27 or so, just what did you think of your team's sort of ability to focus at the end there and just take care of the task at hand?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I know we didn't overlook them. Like we made it clear. You look around the country at some of the teams that have been upset, and we pointed that out to our team. And Denver's very capable. Like Seattle U's a good team. And they played Seattle U very well on Monday too. And so, I thought our guys, they just made shots. Denver's got good players. I thought they kept themselves in the game, and obviously we have to be able to put our foot on their neck when we're playing well offensively. Like we have to get stops. And a couple of those times we're either trading baskets or we'd miss a layup and they'd hit a three, and that's why we couldn't extend it.
You guys are up like by 7 with like 5 minutes or so. Was this the first maybe glimpse at trying to find a closer? It just felt like at that point in time you kind of went to Zoom, who just attacked the basket and kind of did what he does. But just that idea of like when you need to close a game, who's going to be that guy, do you think?
It could be anybody. Like I said, I thought Zoom played really well tonight, and a lot of it was spacing. I know his first bucket, I think Hannes got the offensive rebound. We missed a three, he got the offensive rebound, and Zoom guy was staring at the ball, and Zoom cut straight to the rim and made a great play. Zoom drew a foul, and he was actually going to hit Bryson, who made a great back cut for a dunk. But he got fouled, and I thought Zoom was terrific at the free throw line. I thought Zoom was really, like his intent tonight was really good. I thought he's really dynamic with the ball, but he was finding teammates. I don't know how many assists he had, 4 or 5, but I thought he was really, really efficient with his minutes tonight. Other than, he got in foul trouble, so we had to take him out in the first half. But, we have to do a better job, all of us, playing without our hands.
Your thoughts on the 3 straight triples by Bryson there after that first half, just to be able to just take those shots?
Yeah, it was awesome. Like, that's what he does. He's a scorer, man. Like, he's really dynamic. I'm proud that he's aggressive. Like, we want him hunting those shots. I want all my guards hunting those shots. They can all knock those things down. The only disappointing thing is he made 3 in a row. We need to be able to get stops and have that lead go up to about 22-23, where he made 3 threes and the lead still stayed around that 12-11 mark. But, really proud of Bryson. His energy and effort has been really good. Like, I see him going to the offensive glass, the defensive glass, and he's so bouncy. Like, he can just make a really real impact on the game.
And then just the things that you saw in that 12-0 run to, like, really pull away there. What things did you see in that run?
Yeah, I thought, sharing the ball, we got some stops. I think that might have been one of the – we got 4 or 5 straight stops, and then we got out in transition, and really put some heat on them in transition, and got some easy layups, got, open pitch. I think that might have been when Kamari hit his 3 in transition. But it all starts with defense. Like, we have to defend, rebound, and run. And when we do that and share the basketball, that's when we're at our best.
You talked about Zoom's performance. Can you talk a little bit about the other bench guys, Lathan and Kamari, how that kind of gave you a spark with their performances scoring double figures?
Yeah, I mean, I thought Kamari, and he had some great looks early. He just wasn't in a rhythm. But then once he got going, he was tremendous. He had a great pass to Zoom on the break too. But I thought he was tremendous. Lathan, we had him, ring the bell in the locker room, for player of the game because I thought, being 5 for 5. But when he came in the game, and I've been challenging him, like his energy and effort, and I thought he came in tonight and he was phenomenal from the first minute he stepped on the floor. Like he was playing hard, he was playing with some passion and playing physical, which we need. And like you mentioned, like bench guys, like our lineup's gonna change, fellas. Like it just is. Like I don't care who starts. Like I really don't, because I really think I got 9 starters. I really do. Like they're that good of players. Obviously, not everybody can start, but depending on matchups and the game. Like it could be 5 totally different guys the next game.
So you guys shot 1 of 6 from 3 in the first half. You shot in the second half. You shot 6 of 14.
Mm-hmm.
What really changed in that second half to get more open looks from 3?
Other than making them, not much. Like I thought we had some good looks in the first half too. Like I said, like Kamari had some clean looks. I thought we were sharing the ball, making good 1-more passes. It's one of those things. I think shooting is contagious. It's just like energy. Like when somebody has great energy and passion, it's contagious. Shooting's the same thing. When Bryson gets hot from the second half, everybody sees that ball going through the hole, and they just play with a little different spark. And then Kamari got going, and and even the last 10 minutes, I thought JJ was phenomenal. I thought JJ, he made some great ball screen plays, getting the ball to the rim, playing off 2 feet, some swivel passes, but like finishing at the rim. That was kind of that spurt when they were scoring every time, and that kind of kept us in there too.
You got a big one on Sunday. Any chance of getting Desmond Cloud back?
I don't know. I hope so. He still hasn't practiced yet. So I know he's been trying to move around a little bit on it. He still had a little bit of swelling in the past week in his ankle. It's kind of crazy because it's been almost 3.5 weeks. We've had it x-rayed and MRI'd, like there's nothing wrong with it, but, we got to get that swelling out.
Didn't see Christian Nitu around tonight. Is he still around?
Yeah, and that's just an internal team deal. But yeah, he is still on the team.
On the freshman starters today, we've kind of seen over these last 2 games just how well JJ and Hannes have integrated with the team. JJ today was really a floor general with 7 assists, and then Hannes, we kind of saw that just immediate defensive attention he got whenever he went into the post. Just how impressive has it been to see just kind of how they've just almost seamlessly integrated themselves into the starting 5 these last couple games.
Yeah. Like I said, they've played high-level basketball, for a long time. Like, they played with high-level players. They're used to playing with really good players, and that's why the adjustment was really easy for both of them. And then not only that, they just make the right basketball play. Like, they keep the game easy. Like, JJ, if he comes off a ball screen, he passes it. If he gets hedged, if he gets trapped, he gets rid of it. Hannes is phenomenal. You saw last game a lot of his short roll passing. Like they both just have really high basketball IQs, and they're unselfish players. And when you're talented and you just make the right play, it makes the game easier for your teammates too.
Baylor and Scott Drew have built up just a great basketball program over the last 10 years or so. You can really score the ball at a good rate. Anything that you've seen defensively these last 2 games that, hey, you're maybe looking to improve upon, preach, especially going into a big game, tough environment in Waco?
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously one of the top coaches in the country, has a national championship, and like he mentioned, they've been phenomenal for a long time. Defensively, we have to get a lot better than we were tonight in the next, whatever it is, 72 hours. But the one thing I like about our team is when we show them film, like, they apply it. Like, they see it, they don't take it personal, and we get better. And we have from UNLV to Boise to Pine Bluff to tonight. Like, I know we're going to be better. But like you said, it's going to be a whole different physicality. Like, our rebounding has to improve. Like, they're going to be flying at the offensive glass, and it's going to be physical. There's not going to be fouls called, and we don't expect there to be fouls called. Like, we got to come down with it. Like, we have to play with a nasty streak, and we have to match their intensity on that. But we have to do a better job than we did tonight, keeping the ball out of the paint We have to do a much better job protecting the paint.
And everything, it feels like, in transition has gone pretty well this year. When you guys get points off turnovers, such there. Anything in your mind that's kind of gone into that teaching, or I'm sure having guys who can really facilitate the ball well helps a lot too. But what's gone in there?
It does, and having just more depth, more depth at the post spot and on the wing, And when you have talent, like, you got to let them go, Like, I want to play fast. Like, that's what I was telling. Like, sometimes we're walking the ball up the floor. It's like, go, like, pitch the ball, let's go. Because we do have dynamic guards, and we have to take advantage of, we had 18 pitch aheads tonight, like, in transition. We call them pitch aheads. And we have to be able to attack off those. Like, we have to make people keep us out of the paint on those pitch aheads and try to draw fouls and get into the bonus earlier. I thought we did a pretty good job. We were in the bonus with 8 minutes left in the first half, and we only shot 6 free throws in the first half, which means I know that last 10 minutes we weren't that aggressive. We were settling for jump shots. But, you have to let talent play. That's why, if we could, I'd rather just play with a drag ball screen and play, and go. And we have talent to do that. And as long as they're sharing the basketball and playing the right way, that's what we'll do.
Danny, you mentioned the importance of rebounding, especially when you get to Baylor. We didn't see a lot of Frank in the second half. Was there an injury or anything, or is that just kind of keep
No, just the way they played. Like, when they're playing 5 out, it's hard for Frank to be out there like a point guard, guarding and switching. The way we had to switch with their pace, like, it's hard to play a big in a game like that. And so, we had to play a lot of 4-guard lineup, and Hannes can move his feet like a guard, and Lathan can too at times. But, that's the next progression for Frank, working on.
And then kind of looking ahead, there are a couple of turnovers that seem to have you really frustrated on the sidelines in terms of miscommunications, the backcourt violation, everything like that. Going into a hostile environment at Baylor, how do you just kind of make sure you can figure out those kinds of plays?
Yeah, like, probably 3 or 4 of them were unforced. Like, I don't mind turnovers as long as it's like an aggressive turnover trying to make a play. But I felt like a couple of them were just sloppy. They were just sloppy turnovers. And you can't afford to do that. Like, not at Baylor, not at Washington State, not moving forward. You can't do that. And the margins are so small at this level that, that's the difference between, like I said, having a 5-point lead, instead of it being a tie ball game, and we can't afford that at Baylor. I know that.
Hey, Coach, I just had a chance to talk with your players. What is your thoughts on the new ball, and what was the thinking behind that, of like the switch there?
Yeah, that's just Adidas came out with a new ball, and obviously being one of the elite Adidas schools, we use it, and it's not bad. It's better than the one we had last year, but it's still it seems like it's too bouncy, so I don't know. We got to probably figure something out with that.
And at what point in time did you like have it? Was it so guys, players being players.
They adjust.
It's a little slippery or whatever. At what point in time did you give it to them? Has there been enough time for them to get used to it?
We got it probably mid-July, when it came out. That's when Adidas sent it to all the schools. I think it was like mid to end of July. So we've had it for a couple months. Denver made their shots. I know. I don't know, and I don't know if they're an Adidas school, but and like I said, we shot the ball well too. But like I said, it may be slick. But we got to adjust just like the other team. I know we're going to be playing with a different ball on Sunday, so we'll have to work on that.
Thanks, Coach.
You bet. Thanks.